About 1 million years ago, early humans learned how to light fires. The day talk that people started with was like, look over there, or, watch out. That's about something immediate that you can point to. When you're sitting around the fire, you don't have that. You don't have anything immediate or urgent to talk about. You have to talk because no one can see gestures. They wanted to socialize, so gradually the sort of calls and yells that they used during the daytime changed to allow them to talk about things that weren't in front of them, that weren't present, that are imagined or remembered. So the first stories were probably, what should we go hunting tomorrow? Did you hear about so-and-so catching something interesting yesterday? What are we going to do with our excess, leftover cow or whatever it is? So they're practical, but they're sort of future or past. But then in time, you get to, what do you think those little bright lights are in the sky? And you sort of end up with mythical ideas and magical ideas. Language did not give us stories, stories gave us language. And then over time, technologies to help us tell stories were invented, like drawing, writing, radio, television, printing, and now it's smartphones and AI. You don't really tell a different story on a smartphone to the story you might tell around the night fire. If you think about, you go camping or something and you light a fire, the kind of things that you will naturally be inclined to talk about in that situation are very, very similar to the things your ancestors were talking about. Storytelling, if you look at stories from various cultures, are fundamentally the same. Every living language, there are about 7,000 of them. They all have a subject, a verb, and an object as their standard sentence. There are 3 components you always see. It's character, chronology, and consequence. There may be some little changes in what the name of the god is or what kind of magical thinking is being evoked, but generally you see the same thing everywhere. What does change is how many people you can tell stories to. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, it's you and maybe 10 people from your tribe. Today, 90% of the world has a smartphone. So everybody can tell stories to everybody. Each time a new technology comes along, more people can tell stories to more people. And as that happens, you tend to get revolutions. The printing press is invented in Germany. Very shortly afterwards, Martin Luther writes his 95 Theses, complaining about things the church are doing. That gets printed and reprinted and distributed, much to his surprise. It was the first viral meme, but the result of that spreading was about 50 wars in Europe over the next 150 years. And that's an example of the kind of upheaval you can get when one story meets another story and they don't agree. And we get these wars of stories. If you believe the wrong story, you might die, you might make someone else ill. At the same time, there are very positive revolutions. The revolutions we get can be progressive, or they can be violent and regressive. Our story-shaped brains long for a very neat conclusion to any story. But reality doesn't work that way. So the conclusion of the story of stories is some good things, some bad things. And that's the way it's always going to be.